Your body does not exist in a vacuum. I was sitting at a poker table next to this person the other day because I play poker quite a bit, and it's someone I play with regularly, and they have a bunch of health issues, but they're into yoga, massage, eating somewhat healthy, doing all the right things, and they're just like, I don't know why I'm still sick. And I've watched this person over and over and over again uh, go from 0 to 110 when they lose in a way that they think is targeted or unfair or unjust. They'll be smiley, happy, fine, and then they'll lose and just go to 100% angry at everyone. And then they'll come back to a stable state and then 100% angry again. There is something going on inside of that person. I don't know what it is, but there is something in there that is causing a lot of pain and disruption, and that is going to affect your health. Period. End of story. 20, 30 years ago, people that used to say this, oh, your emotions and your stored trauma and your unprocessed childhood wounds impact your physical health. They were kind of labeled as cuckoo or bananas, but now the data is literally coming out, scientific evidence to support this stuff. And honestly, anybody who believes differently is the cuckoo one. Which scenario makes more sense? That things that happened to you that were painful that you didn't deal with in childhood or your adult life, ways of processing that were a good coping mechanism when you were a kid but you still do as an adult and it's not really working for you, just burying stuff and ignoring things, and you have all this emotional buildup and gunk, and you don't really like your job, you don't really like your life, you don't really like your partner, you don't really like where you live, you're very unfulfilled in life. It doesn't make more sense that that would affect your health, or that your health has declined for a random reason that no one can understand or pinpoint. And the best solution isn't to try and change your lifestyle or heal some of this emotional dumpster fire that we have going on, but instead inject ourselves with a serum that was made in a lab. Like, who's out to lunch here, guys? Honestly. Really, like, just think about this for a second. I'm not saying all medication is bad. Medication saved my life, but we have to use our brains. Just think for like 2 seconds, okay? The problem with this is exactly what I ran into. And that is looking at your own life and taking responsibility is very painful. I remember the first time this concept was introduced to me, I was sitting in a chair. I was running a 103-degree fever. I was in the middle of a flare. I was sprinting up to use the bathroom every 15 to 30 minutes. And I was in a life coaching class because I wanted to help people. And I was excited about this life coaching class. Turns out I really needed the life coaching myself. This was 10 years ago. And the teacher said something that pissed me off. He was basically like, where you are at today, your experience of life today, is because of the choices you made yesterday. And I was furious because I was like, sure, that applies to normal people who can actually like change their life. But I have this, I was smote by the gods by this unreasonable illness. Nobody knows what caused it or how to get rid of it. And I'm just in la la land and it's messing my entire life up. I have no energy. I'm sitting here in 103-degree fever trying to learn because I actually want to help people. Like, how is this my fault? This is where we get very confused and very hung up. Okay. So, wherever you're stuck with, my guess is you are probably avoiding responsibility in some way, shape, or form, and B, not facing yourself fully in the mirror, because C, if you were to do that, you would feel such intense shame and guilt that it would overwhelm you and it would not be fun. So let me help you with this. If you are really stuck with something like Crohn's, this is not just like I'm a healthy person and I'm lazy and I just need to get off my butt and go get a job so I can make more money instead of playing video games 50 hours a week. Like, that's a little bit more basic, but the same concept still applies. But if you're really stuck with something that is very difficult that you didn't necessarily cause, and there's no clear solution to, this is going to help. Number one, you have to accept your current reality. So, when people used to tell me to accept my illness, most of what people were saying was accept where you're currently at and accept that you're going to stay there. Accept that this is not something you can ever change. That is wrong. Acceptance means I accept that this is my current reality. That does not mean I have to accept that I am going to stay there. But you have to be aware of your current limitations. When I was sick with Crohn's, I only had 2 to maybe 4 good hours of energy in a day before it was just brain fog and a mess, and I couldn't think straight at all, couldn't get anything done, totally tired, sleeping 16 hours a day. So I had to accept that as my reality and then also say, what can I do in these 2 to 4 hours that will move me in the direction of health, move me towards where I want to go? And this is taking the responsibility part. As you take responsibility, I want you to only take responsibility for the things that you actually have control over. Yes, were there some things that I was doing before I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease that led to my diagnosis? Yes, I wasn't processing emotions very well. I had some serious baggage that I had not worked through. I was eating like a normal 17-year-old does, Domino's, Taco Bell, staying up late. I was very fit, but I didn't have any downtime in my life. I hadn't done any of this work that we're talking about because I was 17. I didn't know any better. And this is the point. It's like, yes, maybe you had some influence over the point at which you got to now, but likely you didn't know any better. And this is where you can accept where you are currently at, accept and decide that you're not going to stay there, and also be like, yes, these were the contributing factors that I personally did to get me to this point, but I didn't know any better. And I don't have to go through this shame storm and guilt storm and frustrated with myself storm because we're human beings and we all make mistakes, especially when we don't even know we're making mistakes, right? And there's so much murky information around health and all of this stuff that it makes sense that maybe we were a little lost. And then be conscious of the factors that were outside of your control. Like there's plenty of reasons that I had nothing to do with that were the led to me getting Crohn's disease that I had no control over at all. It was just kind of random fate chance, right? Accept that as well. So you're going to accept where you're currently at, and you're going to notice what you did in the past, take responsibility for what you did in the past that led you to this point, because that allows you to take responsibility now. One of the biggest problems I had with Crohn's disease was multiple doctors telling me, we don't know what caused this, we don't know how to fix it, there's nothing you can do, here's some medication. I want you to get your power back and your control back, at least in some way, because if you operate in that frame that there's this terrible thing in my life and there's nothing I can do about it for long enough, you will get depressed. You just will. That is literally how depression is created. Okay? So we're trying to remove that and get some of your power back. Accept, take responsibility, and then decide where you're going to aim. This doesn't have to be crystal clear. This doesn't have to be perfect. For me, it was simply, I can't live like this anymore. I literally don't want to wake up in the morning. And if I continue like this, in this way, I'm not going to be around very long. So I am going to do everything I possibly can in order to become a healthy person and beat this thing. And if I'm going to put in that much work, I don't want to just get over Crohn's disease. I want to be healthy, fit, vibrant, jacked, six pack, able to do what I want with my life, radical shift, healthy. And I didn't know this at the time, but I think that helped me a lot because I think when people are trying to overcome, especially something really big, we set small aims. Small aims are not inspiring. Small aims do not get you up out of bed in the morning. I'm not talking about baby steps moving towards those small aims, but the aim where you're going should be magnificent. It should light you up inside. It should feel so distant and so almost impossible that it feels a little bit delusional on some level. Like here I am, 150 pounds, 6 foot tall, having to flare every couple months, barely able to hold down a job. Can't even do like 10 body weight squats without pausing for breath. Imagining myself as honestly the physique I've built myself into today, it just seemed so far away. But that was inspiring. That got me up out of bed in the morning. That kept me going. And if you can tie this into also something outside of yourself, you will have unlimited motivation. Honestly, something that I did was I realized about halfway through this journey, if I can beat this thing, I can help a lot of people. And that's where this channel honestly was born of. And that kept me going through many of the darker periods that I would have stopped if I was just in it for myself. So it doesn't have to be for you on this more macro scale of like, I can help so many people. It could just be for your spouse, it could be for your kids, it could be for your dog, it could be for your future kids, it could be for your future spouse. Like it doesn't have to be people that are already in your life. It could be for a life you want to create and the people and the legacy that you want to leave. But if you can tie it into somehow, okay, I want to become this person for them, it will help motivate you. To recap, because I know this is a lot, as you look at yourself as a full person that does not operate in a vacuum and realize there are things that I can do that are in my control to move myself out of this place. Maybe you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're facing some uncomfortable truths and some shame is starting to come up. How we adjust here is A, we're going to accept where we currently are. Say, this is where I currently am. These are my current limitations. B, I'm going to take responsibility for the things that are in my control. Notice the things in my past that I did that led me to this point so I can learn from them and adjust my behavior now while also not shaming myself for engaging in those behaviors because I didn't know any better. And then pointing ourselves in a direction where we desire to go that really lights us up inside, that feels a little bit delusional, that feels almost crazy, and say, no, I'm not going to stay here. Yes, I accept that I am currently here. No, I am not going to stay here. I am planting a flag in the stand. I am going in this direction. These are the areas of my life that I'm taking responsibility for. These are the actions I'm taking to move myself forward towards this goal. Yes, the goal is delusional, crazy, outrageous, way out there. I'm attaching that goal to people that will be beneficially impacted by me reaching this goal. So it's not just about me. And I'm going to take small baby steps every day to move me in that direction. That is how you do impossible things. You got this. I believe in you. We'll see you next time.